All right, welcome to Life is Full of It. I'm Ernie and I'm here with Adam this time around. Um, we are going to go into a little bit of anxiety stuff. I hate that I'm so much, I guess I probably need to stop smacking my lips. Or my teeth. Uh, Ernie is identified as anxiety. That's how people know me. And it sucks because I've had anxiety my whole life, but it sucks that that is like a trait, I guess, of mine. But it's also did it again. It's also my fault that I let people know ahead of time because it's easier for me to make people understand or to get out of things, I guess, because they're like, oh, he has anxiety. That's why he's acting that way. Or Ernie left early. That's why he's leaving that way. I pretty much was going to go over basically what I got to do every time. And plus, for people that were getting new to listening to this, I wanted them to get an idea of if I do bring up my anxiety or depression, they know my story because out of everyone, I probably have the most severe panic disorder. And it may bore the shit out of you. So I'm sorry if it is. But to me, someone with anxiety, I've listened to a million YouTube videos. I've listened to a million audio podcasts, self-help, whatever it is. I've listened to everyone else's stories. A lot of people I know, it's in my family. I have a lot of friends that suffer from some a little bit of anxiety, some super depression. But I'll break down. I've had a therapist once tell me he didn't know much more he could do for me. He's like, I feel like you could teach classes on this for how much you do know. And I'm not trying to dust some dirt off my shoulders, but I do know quite a bit because when you have something wrong with you, normally you'll look up a million different things and try to find the answer. And honestly, the answer relies all in you. So basically, Adam's here, and he's in my family, so he does have sometimes issues or whatnot, but he's definitely very, very capable of doing things unlike me.
I feel like as I'm getting older, it's getting a lot worse. I'm not sure if it's because of the situation I'm in. You know, going to school and doing work or going to work at the same time. I was kind of thinking about it on the way here. I think it's because I have something to live for, having a kid. That I feel like I've just been fucking
Do
up
you
my
think
whole life.
you're suffering more from anxiety or depression?
I would say both. It's definitely both now. I would say more anxiety and go
Every
ahead.
book I've read, it says males tend to get higher anxiety, mainly anxiety from what I remember, between 26 and 32. And then it's bad because that's kind of, I got mine really bad when I was 27, but I realize those are the times in your life where shit is like changing. People are getting married, people are having kids, and I think either if you're doing those, you're gonna get high anxiety. If you're making life decisions like that, you're getting high anxiety. Or if you're not making those decisions, but everyone else is around you, it's going to give you high anxiety. Like, what the fuck? I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. So it seems like it's a thing that they've already wrote down statistics for. So it's not like it's something new. You know what I mean? So like, I would expect people to have it around that age, just based off statistics. But it's just how they deal with it. That's the general thing. Um, some people know how to push and fight, and just some people don't. So I've seen a million therapists, a million psychiatrists.
That's a lot.
I know the numbers are crazy. It's very hard. People go see one therapist. I talk to people millions of times. That's a lot too. And they're like, I saw this therapist, I didn't like him, and I don't like therapists no more, and blah 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 blah. I highly recommend just you keep looking. You'll find the right fit. It's hard. It's very hard. The medical system, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but for mental illness, it's very, very hard. The coverage, the help, people are suicidal at times, and they'll say, "We'll see you in 3 months," because we don't have an opening. And those people may need meds right away. I'll get into the medication talk, but
For me, I've been so combative about seeing a therapist.
I think everyone and their mom needs to see a therapist. I think you need to talk to somebody outside of your bubble. But I also believe that it needs to be someone that you feel comfortable with. If it's someone that's giving you just bullshit and you're just a number, I thankfully found beautiful minds in Auburn, California, that these people really cared. And this has been after, like I said, it's been a lot, but I probably have seen about 5 therapists, probably about 6 psychiatrists, let alone with doctors as well, because doctors try to treat mental illness, but to be honest, they're not meant to treat mental illness, even though they will, but they don't know what they're doing. Every therapist or psychiatrist I've talked to, they don't like doctors interfering, because doctors, they say, do not know what they're doing.
Yeah. I definitely can agree with that, especially with I tried to get a dermatologist for my eczema, and my doctor was like, well, he can't do anything that I can't. I'm like, okay, but he's a dermatologist and you're just a general doctor. I don't want to discredit you, but they specialize in something.
Don't take away my goddamn doctrine. But anyway, so when I have to go in, I gotta usually give them a whole spiel. Early as I can remember, being 5, I had anxiety. I didn't like being away from my family. I threw up all the time. My stomach was a mess. I would always have nervous bowels. I had fear of going to the bathroom and throwing up in public. Shit, I wish that's the way it was now, because that's nothing compared to what I feel like now. But, being 5, not being able to really understand it during kindergarten, that's like my earliest memories is during that time. My parents didn't know what it was. My parents were both young. You figure they're probably in their early 20, 21, 22, because they had me super young. They really didn't know what was going on. And then probably about 2nd grade or so, I never wanted to go to school because I was getting homesick and throwing up again. And also, at this time, they didn't know what was wrong with me. They thought, whatever. It was some kind of homesickness I was feeling. I never slept over at my friend's house, never did anything like that. So I ended up just growing up like that, never going out places and stuff. But I still would do things with my family and all that. But just anything that separated me from the family and stuff, I really had issues. And I had a lot of irrational thoughts. That's a huge thing with anxiety, having irrational thoughts that are very absurd. I had a bad problem hearing things on the news or TV. I thought it would happen to me. My mom would go to the grocery store. I was afraid she wasn't going to come back. Not to leave me, but afraid she would die, car accident, whatever it is. 5th grade, my family lost a really good family friend that I considered like an uncle. So my dad's friend, Kenny, it was,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way I could really connect it. Like, our Uncle Mike was good friends with him too, but that's about as far as I can go. And your mom probably knows him too. But I was in 5th grade during that. It was really bad. I think the problem was my mom and dad talked openly about it in front of me. So the way he died was a car wreck, but like how they talked about how he got out of the car, he crawled and, vomiting, and they found him at this point and all this crap. I still remember to this day. They should have never talked in front of me about it. They weren't very, again, they were young. I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's like they should have been a little different, because that gets stuck in your head. Clearly, I still remember to this day all that graphic and stuff. So I genuinely had a fear of death, and that's definitely something I want to talk about on here on another day. Just coming to terms with death. I don't know if I ever will, but so that was a huge thing. But then, like, you know, 7th, 8th grade, I would have the normal anxiety. I think anyone that's just anxious, you know, whatever. I ended up getting a girlfriend in my high school years. Didn't really think about it. Then near like our senior year, I started to get weird feelings. I remember being with her and I felt horrible. Like I was falling out of loving her, if you want to call it liking her. Now I go through it with my wife, actually, even now. But I didn't know what it was. And it's called derealization. Some people call it desensitization, I think. But I swear it was derealization. I'm going to pull it up real quick. But basically, everything doesn't seem real to you. Reality seems non-existent. It seems really weird. So it's a mental state where you feel detached from your surroundings. People and objects around you may seem unreal. Even so, you're aware that it's that this altered state isn't normal. More than half of all people may have disconnected from reality once in a while in their lifetime. So this was something I was getting daily, and it really was affecting my relationship with my girlfriend at the time. It wasn't the reason from the breakup. The breakup happened for whatever reasons, but I mean, I was in high school, so it was whatever. But that's when I first realized this wasn't normal, but I ignored it. I couldn't find a normal place. I wanted to sleep over at my mom's. I kept trying to find comfort in different places and I couldn't. So I eventually went to the doctors, and for anyone that's got anxiety, you'll know Paxil if you're doing antidepressant. Paxil's the jump on medication that they start you with. Now, till this day, I wish all the homeopathic ways, I wish we would have went. Chemical imbalances, sometimes you do need to take a medicine to balance your brain out because your brain's not making enough serotonin. But there is ways to make serotonin in general. You could be outside in the sun. You could do all kinds of different things. Doing activities help it grow. There's a lot. It's just a lot of work. And I think pills are an easier way out. And I'm lazy. So, of course, I'm sure if I had the choice, I would have took the pills because you want to feel better right away. But yeah, so Paxil ended up being that thing, you know, and again, kind of got a little bit better. Time went on. Again, these are things I have to tell every new doctor, every new therapist, psychiatrist. So time goes on and I go to college. I'm fine. I'm on my own. And then, you know, the depression would come here and there, nothing crazy. They would put me on antidepressants. And it's funny, I was watching a video. I was trying to record it to put it on one of these podcasts, talking about people aren't a man if they're on antidepressants because you're taking a pill. It was really weird. It was one of those red pill guys. They're talking about Andrew Tate and all that stuff. But antidepressants, I don't shun anyone on it because I think sometimes you need that balance. It just sucks when we have to rely on it forever. There should be other ways to balance it, but sometimes there's not. But so,
do you think taking the antidepressants messes you up more, or
can
contribute? So
to it? I have a really good group of people around me. I have a life coach, I have a therapist, I have psychiatrist, and my psychiatrist isn't really like a psychiatrist. He does prescribe medicine, but he's also the doctor's assistant, so he talks to me like a therapist as well. We just had a meeting yesterday, and we're talking about what I've been going through. Me moving our podcast out of the studio, not having guys there for game nights and stuff. These last 2 weeks, I've been super depressed, and we put together, and that's the good thing with him. I found someone good. We worked together on realizing that it's just me losing friends around me and feeling alone. And again, people are like, you have your wife, you have your son, but it's different. You can't be like that with your wife. She could be your friend. My wife's, of course, my best friend, but it's not the same as, one of your dudes that
You got to have that girls' night out.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. So, and then your son, you can't treat like your friend either. So, even though I think close times I do things with him that, I would do with friends, play games with them and stuff, but you got to draw that line of being disciplinary. But, he went on to tell me that I'm parched, dude. I'm gonna have to get up and go water. He was explaining to me that the more you go down the line of antidepressants, keep changing, the less they start to work. So he looked at my shit and was like, you've been on like 5 to 6 different antidepressants. Because what happens is if they're not working or your mind gets so used to it, you eventually change it. I've had good records with some stuff, but it gets to the point where you want to feel better than you do at that point. Even though you're getting by, you want more. You want something better. So we will try other things. There's some stuff I could probably go back on and I'll be fine, but I want to be at a better place. So back to
Snap back to
reality. I thought that in my head too. Back to where I was. So I was
college.
Yeah, so I was probably like 26 or so, and my friend was driving us to Thunder Valley. I say that like you guys would know what it is. It's here in Sacramento, California. It's a casino, and I don't know, because I think a lot of things create anything could create a panic attack. And I think maybe in the back of my head, I was worried about money or stressed about it. I have no idea till this day. I keep always thinking about that day. What made me bug out? And I really don't know. I always try to figure it out. I always try to ponder on it, but something happened. He took it very serious, which was really cool of him, because I think he thought I was having a heart attack or something like that. So once we were driving, I told him I wasn't feeling right. We flipped a bitch and turned right around.
Who? Can you say a name?
My old friend Brandon, not the one that passed away, but
yeah, White Brandon.
Yeah, they're two different colors, so that's how we separated them. But so he flipped it. We went. At this time, I'm with my wife, but she's my girlfriend at the time, and my mom's house is right there. So I just had him drop me off there. He took off and left. He stayed with me for a little bit to see if I was all right. I called my girlfriend, and I was just like heaving, horribly hyperventilating in the chair. And I think my mom knew it was a panic attack, but none of us addressed it really. We were just like, something's the matter with him. But no one had the balls, I guess, or whatever, to call 911 or anything like that. And I know you've called me before during like work. I think you're like, I'm laying on the ground in the bathroom. I'm having a panic attack right now. And you know that feeling, that feeling is just, I tell everybody and everyone's like, no, I get it. I know what you've been through. And it's like, no, unless you've had a panic attack. They're like, no, I've had like a breakdown or I've had like a panic attack. I'm like, explain it to me. And I hate being that dick. I really do. Because like even to my wife, I'm like that. I'm like, explain it to me. And if you don't explain it the right way, I'm not listening.
That kind of sucks that you're like that. Because, I would say people can experience it different. Maybe it's not, full throttle like yours.
Right. But if you look at what the list, like anyone right now, Google the list of panic attack. That's what you feel. And you might feel less of some or whatever, but you're going to feel tightness in the chest. You're going to feel the worst possible thing. It's fight or flight. That's what it is. It's fight or flight. Your body thinks you're fighting a grizzly bear. You're fighting. It's
Cocaine Bear.
oh, I can't wait. That was my movie I was supposed to make, I wanted to make a board game off Cocaine Bear. People going back to caveman days. They say it was created by our ancestors to go against saber-tooth tigers. That's the biggest comparison they always do. And your body, your blood goes to your arms and to your legs, and it leaves your chest. And that's why certain things feel the same. And that's the weird thing is I'm explaining to you this, and I still have panic attacks. I know what it's doing, but I still get them. Your arms are ready to go and fucking put that bear in a headlock. Your legs are ready to run. And see, now they add the fight, flight, or freeze, where a lot of people just get stuck. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of where I'm going at.
Can't remember what that's called. It's actually called something. It's adrenaline and something else combined together makes your muscles freeze.
Well, I know cortisol gets real.
I think that's what it is.
Is it cortisol? It's a really bad thing to have always creating it. And I create it so much on a daily basis. It actually scares me because they talk really bad that, oh, you shouldn't have a lot of that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I have a ton of it. So it's something that I have to work on not being as stressed or whatever.
Does that stuff just come out of your body?
I mean, I heard an argument with the guys like, if you're internal bleeding, where's your blood supposed to be? And the dude's like, inside your body. He goes, exactly. He's like, so internal bleeding, why is that a bad thing? And they're being for real. Some dude looked at him like, you made a fact. And one dude was just like, you stupid. Like, that's just dumb. But yeah. So anyway, so then I started to get a little bit of panicky feelings, and that's the bad thing. So I went to I Am Legend. I didn't want to watch it, but the Dark Knight Rises trailer was going to be on it. This was a different time. The trailers didn't come out online. You had to wait forever to see it. You knew movies that were going to be playing it. So I was like, I'm there. I had a good time. I met a manager there that was my friend. He took me through the back. We went through the reels. I got the tour, man. And
dang.
He had boxes of movie posters. And all they had were the Zohan. And I wish I grabbed it. I love the Zohan. Or Don't Mess with the Zohan. And they had Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which is a horrible movie. But I grabbed it because I was like, maybe I could sell this. It didn't come out yet because it was the posters were there just to promote. But I remember thinking, and that's a lot of things with my anxiety is if I don't want to do something or I don't want to be there, I panic. I get anxiety. I don't want to be there. I'm out of control. I'm not in control at that time. So going to see I Am Legend, we saw the trailer. I was fine in a crowded theater. And all I kept thinking is I don't want to jump. I don't want to get scared. I hate scary movies. And soon as the movie started, like a fucking mountain lion or some shit jumps on like
on one of the cars.
Yeah, like literally I can remember vividly.
I think it's the antelope or something.
Something like that jumps up and I immediately oh dude,
I'm so startled.
I was startled, but I was in the middle of everybody. I got up, I was shaking, panicking. My wife, girlfriend, walked with me out there. She didn't get it. What was going on? I don't know. I just feel like I can't breathe. You know, I'm freaking out. And then I was like, I just want to go home. Number one thing you don't do is run away from the fear. You stick it out. And all I do was run. So from then on, I had that fear. I went to see a doctor. Worst thing the doctor did was give me Klonopin, which is
it's a muscle relaxer.
Is it a muscle relaxer?
Klonopin, I believe so.
Well, there's a lot of messes that they'll give you that do different things, but yeah, it could be a muscle relaxer. So he told me anytime I feel like that, he's like, just pop it, you know. I'm like, all right. So then time went on and, you know, I was working as a waiter. I ended up getting something again. I don't know what happened. I got dizzy. And again, felt like I was dying. And that's the worst thing with panic attacks, is feeling like you're dying. That's the scariest thing to me. So then I started developing a panic disorder, which is, and it's funny, again, I have to go through this with my first appointment with every psychiatrist, therapist, doctor, tell them this whole story. So I developed a panic disorder where I'm afraid to have a panic attack. So you're not just getting panic attacks, you're getting a panic attacks from being afraid of getting panic attacks. And that's the silly part of all of it, is it's a dumbass cycle. So I started to get that, and then I ended up working at Macy's for loss prevention, which you'd think that would bug me, running around chasing people and tackling them. But I loved it. But it just, what screwed everything up is ours in California, Roseville, California, caught on fire. And I had to do overnights for 3 months. And that fucked up my mind. A lot of people try to argue with me and say, hey, you know, like my dad works overnights out of prison at the time. But I'm like, you got all the guards to talk to. You have all the inmates to see. My mom's like, I work as a nurse overnights. You have all your coworkers. You have the patients you have to go visit. You're busy. You're constantly moving. You're both thinking. I was sitting in front of 20 monitors. 2 I had control over. And I had it zoomed in on
the ladies section,
the ladies fitting room. No, I had it zoomed on the construction workers, because that's the point, was us to watch construction workers to make sure they wouldn't steal. I trusted them actually enough. After all said and done, it was dumb, because they know it's stupid to even think about stealing. There, I mean, don't be wrong. People do steal that are, you think, smarter than the average bear here. But
I'm looking at them.
But you know, they're doing their jobs or whatever. So, but I'm in this room that's, you know, 10 by 10 probably, in the dark. I could turn lights on, but it's dark at night, so it's still dark. 3 months of that, I started getting really, really ill with depression. I worked Monday through Friday. Then you figure you sleep in Friday. Friday night you get a little bit. Saturday's basically your day. Then Sunday you're off, but you basically aren't, because you go back to work that night. So it was just horrible. And my boss was a bitch, always trying to fire me. I had so much stress going into work. Like, she literally would say I'm doing things wrong, I'm not locking things, and I would pull up fucking video showing me locking things, tugging on it, because I'm that anal and worried about getting in trouble. So she was on my ass, and I told her, I'm getting so depressed. I'm starting to see a psychiatrist. I started seeing, this lady was a bitch, a psychiatrist. She was so awful. That was my first one I saw. The biggest problem is I went there for my issues, my depression and stuff. She was more wigged out than my mom was there. She wanted to talk to me about my mom issues, which I'm sure I do have mom issues. So,
wait, so your mom was in the room with you while you were talking to her, and she wanted to focus on that?
Yeah, my mom wasn't even in the room. She showed up with me. My mom was heading to work in Davis, and the place was in Davis. So my mom led me there, walked with me in, checked in with me, and then she's like, let's talk about your mom being here and this and that. And I'm like, she's gone already. What the fuck are you talking about? But I do have mom issues, because my mom almost died giving birth, so I know I do have a issue of dying, her almost dying, being attached to her, all this other stuff. But that lady wanted to focus on that, and it was just a really bad experience. Not to mention, I panicked on the driving on the way home. So yeah, that sucked or whatever. And then I went back to working overnights, and I tried to get time off. They wouldn't let me. And then from there, I was getting married. And again, here comes, I'm 26, getting married. Actually, that happened first. So I got married, and then I went to Comic-Con during the overnights. So I had to switch my schedule all the way around to start waking up at 6 a.m. to go to Comic-Con, be there at 8, whatever, all day. That Comic-Con, I had a horrible time. I panicked through all of it. every line, every crowd. I started getting overstimulated. At that time, I wasn't getting Klonopin or anything like that. But it was horrible. I used to go to Comic-Con every year, and it was horrible, horrible, horrible. I think a lot of it had to do with my sleep, my balance, not on the right things I should have been on. I remember I was popping this gum called Rescue Gum. That doesn't work that much, but I still carry it. But yeah, then went back to overnights, and I got married before that. And I think when I got married, I was fine. I was driving. You were there. I was driving around at that time. I was doing stuff. I started to get the fear of fainting about when I was going to get married. I didn't want to faint. I see it too many times on TV, and that's my problem, is I see things and I'm worried that's going to happen to me. So then I started to get a fear of fainting. So I'd be walking with my dad down Waikiki, and then I would stop and put my hand on the wall, and he's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm scared I'm going to fall over." Why? I have no fucking clue. And again, you're building this fear, you're building this panic, and it's just, God, horrible. And then I'm flying, which I'm afraid to fly, get back, do the overnights. Eventually I get out of overnights. My whole world felt like I got out of jail. Too many people were around me. My shifts were getting harder and harder. When I didn't want to go to my night shifts, I was panicking driving there every time. So when I would drive there, I would take every side road I could take. I started cutting out. And again, you don't cut out things that make you afraid. You go towards it and push through it. I started cutting out every red light. Now I was panicking at every red light. Locking my doors at night for every door for Macy's. I was panicking. Walking into the mall with my dad, I felt faint one time in the food court. I never went to the food court again. Then it gets smaller and smaller. Then I got to the point where I didn't want to even leave my office. People are like, "You got to lock up." I'm like, okay. They didn't know I'm hyperventilating while I'm locking 20 different doors at the time. So eventually I end up turning my boss in for all kinds of shit. And I took leave because I've taken stress leave before. And I took leave, and then I started working at my buddy's car shop. And that was too much too. They put a lot on me. They just rigged cars up. I didn't know they were going to do that. Or they buy beaters, fix them where they work for a second, and then people were returning them like the next couple days. And they made them talk to me, and that was just stressing me out. And I was in a bad state. My wife was just pregnant with my son, so I was nervous. Again, avoiding red lights like crazy. I saw then a new therapist. I saw a new psychiatrist at that time. That psychiatrist was very, very mean. He was, what is it called? Toxic masculinity. I can never say masculinity.
Masculinity? I don't know.
Masculinity. I always say it wrong. He was like, "You need to man up. You need to do this." And I'm like, well, I may just be a stay-at-home dad while I figure shit out, and my wife's going to work. He's like, "Nope, you need to be the man, be the breadwinner." All this shit that my wife was like, "Fuck you." But we had no choice because our insurance only took him. And he was referred to me by my new therapist. And that therapist felt like she couldn't get to me. And it sucks because people make you feel like you don't have the hope. But the thing is, I'm going to a therapist that's meant for it's a family therapy. So they're going for divorces and, shit like that. When you got
Currently you are?
Huh?
Currently?
No, that's what I was going to.
with the mean psychiatrist?
First was the lady I only saw once. Mm-hmm. Then this psychiatrist was the mean one. But she referred to me people there, a guy there, but he was too booked. So I got another guy. They're the only ones in my network, and that's the shame of the whole thing with mental illness is you only could go to who you can go to, and you have to hope your insurance. That's why we have fucking tons of homeless people walking around that aren't on pills or not on the right things, got too far gone, whatever, didn't get the proper treatment, is because we don't give out healthcare. We don't give out, and mental illness is a whole different ballgame. Like me having a life coach is out of pocket. Luckily, I'm covered from my therapist now, psychiatrist, but I think people, if they want a life coach, it should be covered, I think, because they're the ones that keep you online, especially if you're like, let's say a drug addict or something like that. It's good to have, it's almost like, what does AA have?
The meetings?
No, a sponsor.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
So it's almost like having a sponsor, but in a mental illness field. So I ultimately just got to the point where I stopped driving. I haven't drove in 10 years. I haven't been to the movie theater in 10 years. I haven't probably been to like Target and Walmart. I've been trying. I'll get to the register area, but I start panicking. So let's say I haven't been to the back of Target or Walmart in 10 years. I've been going to other stores. I got used to going to my local comic shop where I'm okay. There are times I'm a little anxious in there, but I'm able to walk around. But that's it. It's just a miserable, miserable life. And the best thing that happened to me is to go to that Beautiful Minds, like I said, in Auburn, California. They take a lot of people in across the country. The only difference is it's not inpatient, so you don't stay there. You know, they've talked to me. He actually talked to me yesterday that if I would ever be interested in, it's stressful, inpatient for my Xanax, because I rely on Xanax way too much, and Xanax is not a good drug. But to this day, my family hates the fact that they gave me Xanax because it's something that I take an easy way out of stuff, but it's a crutch. I feel like I need it, but that's the addiction talking as well, though. But if I don't take it, I have straight huge panic attacks. It stops me from having panic attacks. It stops me, or makes me able to go and do things. And it sucks. Like today, I went shopping earlier, went to Five and Below, if you know that store. It's not the big, it's decent size.
It's the club within the club.
Yeah, you can, it normally would give me anxiety, but with Xanax, I was fine. I went to GameStop next to it. Fine. There are moments where I'm fighting through it, but it feels like the old me. And that's how I used to be at whatever, driving or whatever, where I'm like, okay, this sucks, but you feel it a little bit and you push through. And I have to mention that my brother has it. My sister got the depression part, I think, more than anything. My depression was really, really bad. I got something called TMS. God, I can't remember how to break down the pronouncing it. But it's a electric field that stimulates part of your brain where the depression is. They find out where the depression kind of is, and they're basically, how I look at it is, they're like shocking it in a way. It's not shock either because it's done by magnets. People think it's electroshock therapy. It's not. It's far from. But
magnets do generate electricity.
Yeah, but it's not electroshock therapy where they're like pulling the thing and zapping me or whatever. And I learned they still do electroshock therapy. I have joked about it before, like maybe that's what I need, and I thought it wasn't real because I thought my old psychiatrist threatened me with it because maybe we need to send you to New York to get, electroshock therapy. And I was like, okay. And everybody was like, no, he's just fucking with you. He's just fucking with you. And then I talked to the people I'm seeing now, and they're like, yeah, that's a thing. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I think that's pretty barbaric. But the thing for TMS, it helped me where I don't wake up depressed for no reason. Now I'm just depressed for the reasons. Like, my life sucks. I'm not doing much. I think I'm a bad dad. I think I'm a bad husband. I have regular depression that people have, but I probably get it more than most people.
Oh, okay, it's a little better.
It's the best thing I can say is I don't have it where, like I said, for no reason. Like, I would wake up and just feel miserable, and you're like, why? And you have no idea. And I've heard people talk about their depression, the suicidal depression, where they're just like, I don't want to live. I wake up and you have like a foggy cloud in your mind and you can't think straight, and you're just like, I'd rather be dead. Like, and that's the sad thing with the suicide stuff. It's like, you don't want to die to be like away from the world. You want to die because this feeling you're having is just not good. It's not normal, and you don't feel good. You don't want to do anything. It doesn't feel good to do anything. And people are like, go outside, run, get endorphins. It's like, yeah, I don't feel like jogging right now. I have this horrible whatever. So I can say that TMS did get rid of that, but it can't get rid of my other thoughts, though. It can't get rid of, there's no thing that's going to sit there and just get rid of, I didn't get my shit together in life. That's depression that only you can fix, you know? So, yeah, so now I'm just at a point where I panic over everything. I've gone very far because there was a time I didn't get that psychiatrist that was really mean to me. I was at Disneyland having a hard time. I tried to call him on the emergency line and ask if I could take more Xanax than normal, because this wasn't a normal day. This was Disneyland, and it was extreme. It's actually really, really, really funny. It's bad, but it's really, really funny. I was getting really bad at Star Tours, if you know where that is. It's in the back. It's in Tomorrowland in Disneyland for anyone that's gone to Disneyland. And they started doing the fireworks. So I'm getting really bad. I'm getting bad for Star Tours, and then the fireworks are going off. Then the guy's voice comes on, and he does like the goal voice where he's like, and at 9 we are gonna, but it's not like, he's not doing it like at nighttime, blah, blah, blah. They do and the night comes, and then the dragon arrives. I was getting worked up, and I'm pushing Logan. He's 1 year old, my son, in a stroller. And I am ramming the fuck out of the people in front of me. Flat tires, left and right. Like when you pull down on someone's like ankle and scrape them left and right. And they turn around, and I'm just like, look, I'm having a panic attack. I'm sorry, you know. And I tell what are they called? Cast member, hey, I'm not doing hot. Is there a way I could get around this? Because we were bumper to bumper stuck. People were stopping, looking at the fireworks, and they were like, he was like, yeah, come out here on the side. And he literally was like, just sit here and wait until the whole crowd walks by. I'm like, motherfucker, this is gonna be 2 hours. So I went back in line. I eventually calmed down in downtown Disney. We walked out there. It was a little more chill. It was still rough, but that doctor, number one, said I called when I shouldn't have called, which I thought I was okay to call. And then he said, since I took an extra one, which is fine. I've talked to doctors now. When you're in an extreme situation, it's fine if you need to calm down. If you're truly abusing it, it's easy to tell. Like, that's not really abusing it. He said that I didn't give you that permission, so I'm cutting you off. So, like I said earlier, I only had that doctor in my insurance to cover me. So he took me off all my meds. I couldn't get meds anymore. So I was off antidepressants for 8 months. I lost probably about 40, 50 pounds. I wanted to die every day. I was so suicidal. That's when I started taking weed oil, which I've talked to you a million times about. Because I couldn't get anything, any kind of help, and I didn't leave my house in 8 months. The whole point of me telling this is when I left the house, my wife threatened to divorce me, and that's what changed everything. She's like, I can't have you do this, can't have you doing this to our son, and if you don't change, I'm going to leave. And once that was said, I just was like, all right, I'll go to the doctor's tomorrow. Thank God I found a great nurse practitioner. She was freaked out when she first saw me because she thought I was going to have a stroke. She was like, your blood pressure's so high. We need to get you in the room, calm you down. And then she was going to send me to the hospital to get, we were just talking about the drug, but they call it Special K. You ever heard of that?
I think I have ketamine.
It's a very, very, very happy drug. She's like, I can send you there right now, the emergency room. She's like, and you could get some Special K.
She's like, you want it? I got it.
Yeah, she's like, I could get you feeling good. And I was like, no, because I got Xanax and Zoloft. I called a doctor on a screen, and I was telling them I'm trying to get better and get out. We were able to get some kind of coverage through a doctor, not a psychiatrist, to get my medication going. So once I saw her, things were getting better, and that's the whole point. What I was getting to with her is she's seen how much I've grown because she knew me from a skinny, fat hanging dude, like all my fat was hanging off me, to now just a fat guy that's trying to get back into things. I'm still suffering a lot, but she knows I've gone. She's the first one that saw me at my worst to where I am now. But like I said, it's crazy because it is super genetic. Someone like my brother and my dad and our grandma, she has it really bad. She went to the hospital for, she thought a heart attack, but it was a panic attack.
Grandma Gloria?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, she went there.
When was this?
I want to say a couple years ago, maybe 2 to 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is it happens all the time.
Boogie has it. Lena has it.
I didn't know Lana has it.
Well, we don't really talk to them.
We don't talk to that side of the family. No, but our uncles have it. I know Marcus has it a little bit. Rudy had it really bad, but he wouldn't talk about it. He's the type. There's a couple different types of people that have anxiety. There's people like my dad that are too embarrassed to talk about it because they don't want people to know and embarrass them. And there's me.
I feel like your dad doesn't want to admit it.
I mean, I guess, but he knows he has it. To be honest with you, I probably got worse anxiety from growing up with him, and that's not his fault. But I saw him panic. We were in drive-thrus, and I know what it's like now when you feel like,
damn, dude, I do this in front of Axton.
When you feel like you have no control, when you have no control of a situation, it messes you up. Being at a red light messes me up, right? There's a car behind me, car in front of me. I'm trapped. My dad would get stuck I remember being at Jack in the Box. He's stuck. There's a car in front of him, car behind him. He didn't like it. He would get out of the car. He would tell the person behind him, my son's throwing up. I need to back out. So I don't even know how that fucking worked. If there was like 2-3 cars behind you, I don't know how he got out. I just remember the incidents of that. I remember my dad freaking out, not being able to find his medicine. And the scary thing was he was yelling at me and my brother. And again, I've talked to my dad about this. It's nothing against him because it's part of going through a disease, a disorder. He's just screaming at us, I need my meds. I need my meds. And the fact he called them meds really bugged me. Like if he said medicine, I don't think it would have bugged me that much. But it sounded psycho. It sounded like a crazy person. And sadly, that's not the thing. That's not the way we should look at people. But it's because he probably needed his calming down medicine, whatever that would be. I don't know. I don't think it was Xanax. But he was yelling at me and my brother, and we were like, we're looking. You know, he thought, he was screaming at us like, why aren't you finding him? And till this day, I can remember even what it looks like vividly. So I think that falls back on me on what I saw. So it's hard. I try to be cautious with my son, but there's so many incidents that I didn't care. Like I've kicked, my dashboard. I've kicked, I wouldn't say the window to the point where I'm breaking it, but I put my feet up against it because I'm trying to burrow myself down. Anytime someone panics, a lot of times they want to be low to the ground or in a fetal position. So I would do that. There are times the car would be somewhat, not like fast, like on the freeway or anything, but Crystal driving maybe 10, 15 through a neighborhood. And I would open the door because I wanted to get out. When we were on our way to go learn his sex, while she was pregnant, we were at a red light. I got out of the car and stepped outside, and she's screaming at me to come back in. I did that just because my mind needed to know that I wasn't trapped. Again, my son wasn't there for it, but that was something that was horrible. A beautiful experience was ruined because I had to do something like that while my wife was there, while she's checking. And the problem was everything was too real to me. Life was getting too real and I couldn't handle it. We were going to go check the sex of our son, and the fact that we were going to learn that, it got too much for me. I didn't drive my wife to the hospital. My mom drove her. I was in the car with her, don't get me wrong, but that's something I'm supposed to do. So how do you think like I feel? And that's why we get pushed off having another kid for so long, is because I want to be better, but it's like, am I ever going to be better? Do I need to just bite the bullet and have another kid or whatever? But I was glad that I stayed with her during the pregnancy. I did everything right during that time, in which I was very happy. That anxiety, no anxiety. That's why I think a lot of people don't know if it comes to the time where, like, my psychiatrist has asked me, what if something bad happened? Would you go do it? You know, there's a crash. Your wife needs you there. Would you go? And I'm like, I think so. He goes, that's a horrible answer. And I'm like, I can't tell you right now. Right now, I feel scared as fuck thinking about it, and I'm afraid I can't drive. But in that moment, who knows? My adrenaline might kick in, and I just go drive because I'm worried about my wife. So I don't want to give. If people know anything about me, I don't give for sure answers, and that's something I'm working on. I never will give you a guaranteed answer if it deals with anxiety. If you're like, hey, can you come by my house probably? And I'm like, yeah, I'll see. It just depends on blah, 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 blah. I'll make up something where it lets me be in limbo, where it's not sure or not sure. And I do that.
So you don't have to commit.
Yeah. Committing for me is a huge problem. And that the funny thing is I'm easy to commit to my wife or whatever. But when people are like, so this, like 2 days, we're going to go celebrate my brother's birthday. And I'll sit and they're talking about this, and this. For me, I need to know where it's at. Is it out of my comfort zone? What kind of restaurant is it? This and that, you know. Before I go, I look at the route. I look at how far is it? Can I handle that drive? Is it going by somewhere that triggers me, like the mall triggers me now? But my psychiatrist is like, you just need to go. Everything you get a chance to do, just go. And it's hard because once I get in the car, I'm like, I got this. And all of a sudden in my brain, it's like, you don't got this. You need to go back. You're going to panic. You're going to die. Blah, 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 blah. So it's this constant battle. But, you know, when they're like, oh, we'll see you on Thursday. I'm like, yeah, I hope so. And it's like, I don't give like a full answer or anything. So anyways, I don't know. It's just one of those things I think people need to be more aware of. It doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, go be, if someone's going through it or whatever, let them get away with it. Let them, you know, be nicer to them, because I think it's just more you need to understand what they're going through. And the best thing you could do is just listen, because everybody's different. Like you mentioned earlier, like there's people that have panic attacks that don't want to be talked to. And the people that are right there just need to do that. Be like, what do you need from me? And they might say, I need you to talk to me, distract me right now. Or they might say, don't talk to me. I don't want you to say shit. I want to just be sitting over here or whatever. You know, the biggest thing is taking deep breaths, and people don't do that. I have a bad issue focusing on deep breaths. If you could concentrate on your breath, I feel like you can literally calm down and get rid of it. But you're not thinking. You start hyperventilating because you're panicking at that time. Your heart's going crazy. Everyone thinks they're having heart attacks. Like I literally just talked to my psychiatrist about how one of the doctors had a patient, and while he made the girl have a panic attack in the office, like induced it, but then started making her jump up and down and do push-ups, and it sounds brutal, but jumping jacks, showing her you're not going to have a heart attack. And I told him my problem is I start rationalizing things like, well, I am fat. I eat not the greatest. So then I started thinking maybe I could have a heart attack while I'm having it. But going even to my regular doctor, she's always like, you're way too young to have a heart attack. And I'm like, but on TV,
there's those people.
Yep. But on TV, but on, you know, the news, or but whatever. But that's why being almost hypochondriac, I have heart issues, or I feel like I do. If you bring that to them, they have to run you through the gauntlet. You get an EKG, It's fine. Cool. I'm done. Nope. We're going to go do MRI on it. Do an MRI. You're fine. Eventually, they're just like, dude, you're just freaking out over anxiety. I had to do a bunch for my heart because having COVID, they said there was young people that were having issues. Mm-hmm. So that terrified me. But then they realized that it was just my anxiety. I was fine. But yeah, I'm worried about my brain. I'm worried about having an aneurysm. I'm worried about having a stroke. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, you're too young to have a stroke. I'm like, man, I feel old as fuck.
There's those people.
Exactly. See, you're ruining it for me.
I'm sorry.
No, but that's the truth, though. There's people that are young that have strokes.
Yeah, freak accidents type shit.
Aneurysms are one of the scariest things to me because there's no signs for an aneurysm. There's no reason for an aneurysm. Just, what is that? A blood clot just happened somewhere and that's it.
Blows up.
Yep, and that's it.
At least you wouldn't know what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just happens. So that's my mom's argument to me. I talk to my mom a lot about that, and my wife. And my mom's argument's always like, oh, well. Then it gets to my fear of death. Like, well, then I'm dead, and then I'm going to miss you guys. She's like, you're dead. You're not going to miss anybody. And I'm just like, no, but I'm dead. And it's a whole nother story. But, yeah, it's just hard. It's really hard because then you become like me, that's agoraphobic, where agoraphobic is the fear of open spaces. And having that with a panic disorder is like double jeopardy because you don't want to be places. You're getting anxiety, getting ready for a panic attack, but then you also don't like being out. You want to be in a safe place. And the sad thing is you eventually get so small, you don't even have a safe place anymore. You have to learn that you're your safe place. That's what you have to learn. Is that wherever you are, you're safe. But it gets to the point where I have panic attacks in my house. So there's no point. There's no purpose. There's no reason to be like, oh, there's somewhere safe. But don't get me wrong. We're driving down the street. I'm starting to panic. We turn around to my house. All of a sudden, I'm fine. And that's the stupidest thing you feel when you get home. I missed out on a friend's wedding. My wife was driving us there. Panicked, turned around, and I think, oh God, maybe it's a heart attack, maybe it's something. And you come home and you're fucking fine. You're like whistling Dixie, like, ooh, no problem. And it's like all that was your anxiety. That you being fine at home just proved to you that you weren't fucked up. That was all anxiety, and you needed to talk yourself out of it, but you can't. And that's when I'm talking to my friend yesterday who suffers from anxiety. He was saying that a lot of people don't get it, that in that moment, it's hard to concentrate on it. He told me he got better at it and explained to me some methods he was doing that I'm going to try. But when you're just in that moment, it's like, okay, now concentrate and think about it. It's almost like playing football or basketball. It's like when you're middle of dunking it, concentrate on something. Or like football, when you're running, concentrate on this, meditate, start thinking calm. It's hard when your adrenaline's going crazy and you can't even focus or even look right or whatever. But I don't know. Like I said, I just wanted to fucking go through that. I saw people listen to our talking about getting locked up and stuff like that. I think sharing some personal antidotes is helpful.
Do I get to talk now?
I told you the whole time, just ask me whatever you want to ask.
Well, you were just explaining.
Well, yeah.
You have so much to talk about. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, but you can ask questions about what I was doing, but go ahead, talk.
I want to say probably the first time now that you mentioned being like 5, the first time I think I experienced anxiety was in 2nd grade. I just felt like my mom wasn't going to come pick me up from school. And I would ask.
And that's pretty rational. I think a lot of people younger do have stints of anxiety, but I think it's, again, I think with you, of course, it's different because our bloodline has it. But I think kids do get that, but some people just deal with it different. And you teach them. Like my son's been left by himself, but he was fine. He was chill. And I get jealous, to be honest with you. It's sad to say that my son can handle shit way better than I ever could. So, anyways, carry on. You were by yourself?
No, I was in 2nd grade, Miss Rogers' class at, I wanted to say Crestmont, but that's That's Roseville. Village.
I was gonna say Miss Rogers. That was my teacher.
Was she really?
Kindergarten?
Oh, yeah, Miss Rogers was kindergarten. My bad.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
At Village. Who was my second? I think Miss Rogers was my second grade teacher. Anyway, I would ask her, "Hey, can I go see if my mom's here?" You know, it would get maybe like 20 minutes to school. And, you know, all the parents are all lined up and all that. When you have like the both parent,
The what parent?
when you have the two parent family growing up, you have that one parent waiting there for you to get out of school, and I don't know. I just keep asking. Was it Miss Paterno was my third grade teacher. Damn. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Miss Rogers did second grade. People don't care about this part, but you're right. She was second grade.
Yeah, I kept asking maybe like every 2 minutes or whatever, and you know, eventually my mom would be there. But I want to say after that it was okay for a while. I want to think. Because I don't know, man. I didn't really struggle with it. I didn't really start struggling with it until like really recently. And I don't know what. Like I said, maybe it's because I quit my job, and you know, my whole routine out of high school was work. I didn't have a kid to care about. If my car broke down, I would fucking use my Lamborghinis to get to work. And you know, now
5-point toes.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one. You know, I never went to the hospital because whatever, I didn't need to. Let me think. I want to say the very next time I remember having a panic attack, and it was the fight or flight, and I took flight. I was at Corey's house, and I don't know what happened, and I was just like, dude, I gotta go. And I just got on my skateboard and started riding, and I was breathing, you know, hyperventilating, and I just took off down a couple of streets, and then I came back, and I was okay.
I've heard, I don't know who can do it. I mean, that's good that you did that, but a lot of people say just run or whatever.
Run.
Dun, dun, dun. But they say if you just start using that adrenaline and get rid of it, then you get a little bit better, because that's what's happening is your body's ready for it. So if you could do that, you know, even fighting against it, or like flight, like you said, but flight usually means running away from it, to my knowledge. Mm-hmm. Like flight is like you're not.
Yeah, fight or flight. So you're chickening out by fighting.
I think you were more fighting, because you were kind of running, I guess, away from it, but using your muscles and everything on the skateboard, that's like fighting in a way.
I don't know.
Fighting against the symptoms, I guess you could say.
I just told Corey, I was like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I'll be right back. And I just took off on the skateboard, and dude, I don't know what was going on. I just started to like.
Well, that's why I said like my first time. I don't remember like. I remember the drive, but I was like, I don't remember thinking horrible things. I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
So I think maybe something subconsciously is in your head, or I don't know.
I don't know, because you know, I've never had a bad time over at Corey's house. No
one knows who Corey is, by the way.
Corey was a really good friend of mine, but now, you know, we've drifted apart.
Well, that's what happens when you get old. Shit, I have no friends now. Do you remember the time
you have me?
Family's family. We are Groot. Do you remember the time you called me and you're like, I'm laying on the bathroom at Walmart?
I don't.
Did I say laying on the ground?
I don't think.
But you were laying. You're like, I'm panicking right now, dude. Like, I just need to talk to you. I need to talk.
I know I've done it a couple times. I don't know if I've ever laid down at work.
What you told me was you're like, I'm on the ground. Maybe you were laying down, but you're like, I'm on the ground. I'm in the Walmart bathroom. You're like, I'm just not doing good. I'm like, all right.
I don't think I'd do that. I don't know, man. That's weird. But go ahead.
That's what I remember, and I remember just telling you to breathe, and I was like, just take deep breaths in, dude, like really deep. And then we talked a little bit about it. Then you're like, yeah, I'm doing better. That's all I remember. It was like a 15-minute, 10 minutes. I think you're having trouble with like a girl at the time. Something else was happening. It was like multiple things, and you were like freaking out.
I've called you going to pick up Axton on the freeway. Mm-hmm. lately it's just been my eczema has been bad, and I know that's coming from my anxiety, which is stressing. It hurts to get in the shower, like an Indian burn.
Yeah.
That's how like a lot of my abdomen feels.
Oh, that sucks.
Like it hurt. I wake up constantly at night because you turn and it hurts behind my my knees, or actually from behind my knees a little bit above them all the way down to my feet are just like scratches and scars. Like right now they're like open wounds.
That sucks.
So like getting up, like your skin rips and reopens the wounds, and like I'm like an old man like getting up out of bed.
And they say a lot of it's from anxiety.
I know it's stress. And right now just going to school. I'm not even in school anymore right now because I can't afford it. And they told me, well, if you can't bring your bill down, you can't sit in class. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But you can still charge me. You can still fail me. So I just been going to work. I think that's another thing.
I think at least you're got a job in between it though.
Yeah.
Because there is a time you're in between, right? Getting a job, then you're still in school, but then getting a different job.
And that's what's led to here, was because I didn't have a job. And I thought quitting Whitecap, I was going to get help from EDD through California Training Benefits because UTI is federally funded. And I haven't heard from UTI. I mean, EDD.
UTI,
urinary tract infection. I haven't heard from EDD ever since I filed, and that's been months. So, I just had
What were you trying to file in EDD?
California Training Benefits, so I would get paid to go to school.
Oh, okay.
Haven't heard back from them. Thought, fuck, I gotta look for a job. So, I was still smoking weed. Failed out of a couple of good jobs, like Penske should have been a career.
I'm shocked even with the whole weed thing. How much? So I heard even like I follow wrestling a lot, and they do drug testing. I heard now they don't even drug test weed, which is crazy. I'm surprised places do weed now when we have stores on every corner that's a smoke shop.
Well, if it's like Penske is throughout the U.S., so it's federal. There's some states that don't do it.
I see.
So that's Penske. They're based out of like Kentucky or some shit. So they P-test for that, and then Goodyear, same thing. I thought I was gonna get hired over at GMC because I was still dirty, but he's like, I'm just gonna push this through. And then they got to my background, and then they didn't call me. Actually, Sprouts didn't call me back either.
That's so weird.
I know. I wanted to walk in there the other day and be like, hey, am I gonna still work or what? But
that was all messed up. So my wife worked there, and it was all fucked up. It was all weird.
So lately, I have been like kind of panicking in front of Axton. And
well, the stress is gonna. It's weird because everyone says you can't escape stress. You need stress, basically, in your life. You need it. But like what you're saying, everything you're going through, a lot of stuff that I'm going through, is too much. And it's like, how do you down that? What would down that for us is like more money, better jobs, stabilized, but you can't change that. So it sucks. And like you're saying, it affects you bad in other ways, in your skin and everything. And that's stress. It's so nuts. If you break down stress and really, really learn about it, stress can cause so much shit. I mean, it could cause cancer. It could cause everything. It's just ridiculous. So you feel like you're doing things in front of accident now?
There have been a couple times where like I'm like I would say panicking, but not like over the top, and like he's looking at me, and I'm like, don't worry, bud. Dad's just having a hard time. But
I just think those times it's rough because you don't want to show it, but it's like all you're doing at that moment is being human.
And it sucks because you said your dad would yell at you, and I don't know if there's been times where I'm like screaming at him, and I don't know if it's because like
Well, it depends what he's doing.
Well, I mean, of course you're gonna get angry with him, but you don't lash out at him like that, you know. And
We'll see. And like I said, the thing is with stuff that happened with my dad. Sadly, I don't know if it's sadly, but I don't blame him because I know the mental illness. I know what it does to you. So it could have affected me, could have made me worse. My mom and dad's divorce could have made me worse. Being in between homes, you know, being raised by no one, it feels like at times. You know, we live with our great grandma, but my dad was always gone working or school, and he was doing the right thing, but we also were kind of on our own. And I don't want to be all like fucking cool guy, like, oh, I was on my own my whole life walking the streets. I was home, but the only parental person there for earlier years of my early teens was a great grandma that was 70 something that could barely move, you know. Like if shit went down, she wasn't going to do anything, to be honest with you. But
she get the chocolate.
She wasn't even old enough to throw a chocolate.
Too old, yeah.
But so, I mean, I don't like, it's hard because it could have affected me. I assume it does affect me because I remember it so vividly and a lot of things. But again, I don't blame things because this shit isn't cool. The mental health is fucking crazy. And,
you know, and like growing up,
it takes the worst or the best of everybody.
Growing up, I wasn't, I don't want to say I wasn't like desensitized to it. But I was always like, come on, you're good. I mean, you can get through it. Like, let's go. Come on.
It's a lot easier said than done. That's the only problem because
the thing is, I didn't understand. And now here I am going through it a lot worse. And it's like I have to hype myself up and I have to break through it. I'm like, dude, you need to fucking stop. Or like recently I've been like just like making, I know it sounds stupid, but I've been like making my own beats or trying to hum my own songs.
Well, you do what you got to do. That's why nothing's stupid.
Chronic masturbation.
That's the weird thing is you do absolutely whatever. Like I have fears that I'm going crazy a lot of the time. I think it's weird that we have a conscience. I have moments where I really deep dive the idea that there's constantly a thought in our head talking, you know.
It's weird there's people that don't have that.
And I think that sounds like a crazy person. And you can never stop it. The fact that it's going right now while we're talking, the fact that I'll be laying in bed and I'm sitting there thinking a million things, and no matter how hard you try, it'll never go away. You cannot stop it. And that scares me sometimes. It makes me start panicking. I'm going crazy because I'm living outside the matrix now. I'm like outside of it. And I remember talking to, when I was at IOP, we all had coaches. And I remember talking to my coach about it. And I told her I get it the worst while I'm in the shower because I have no phone. I have nothing but my thoughts while I'm in the shower. And she's like, just sing. I'm like, what? And she's like, just sing. She goes, if you're like sitting there thinking these weird things that you think, or you think that are weird, because she said, you know, you can have thoughts like that, but just don't let it get to the point where you're panicking. But she's like, just sing, just start singing songs that you like or whatever. And she was like, and it just takes you away from it. And I never really did that, but I got it. So I would try to move my thoughts to, that's what you got to do is move your thoughts.
You singing Adele.
Yeah. And I'm hella going hard in the shower. But that's
beating on the walls.
I'm sobbing and shit. But that's it's weird. Like I said, you do what you can. You do whatever it takes to try to get it to the point of just surviving through your mind or whatever. Because all I think about is, oh, I'm gonna go crazy. And I literally have to have people tell me that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. You know.
What's that on?
It's on the Force.
How any of this works.
That's on the first Star Wars. The Awakens was the first one. I can't remember. He's like, can't you use like the force? He's like, that's not how it works. I don't know. That's what I got it from. But yeah, it's just, you gotta, like, you know, reassurance helps a lot, but my problem is I look for it all the time.
That sucks because I feel like I'm trying to get that, and I know my mom hears me cry in the shower sometimes because I like to use her shower. It works better than my shower, and it sucks.
I had a horrible image of like you just biting down on a rag and just fetal position, just like
no, like, dude, it fucking stings when I get in the shower.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like, to the point where I think I'm getting abs because I'm flexing so fucking hard in the shower. And
there's a silver lining.
Damn. But good.
I might feel like shit, but look at these fucking abs.
I haven't had a calorie since 2006. No, it fucking burns. And, you know,
is there easier ways to wash? Like, I don't know, like a dry, or not a dry rag, but a damp rag. Just la da dee. Just
I was thinking about that too.
Patting yourself down though, like gently, because I'm thinking like a sunburn or some shit. Like you gently kind of go over it, but you like dab it or something.
Maybe. I mean, I don't use. I have this eczema wash that I don't know if it's working or not.
I'm just surprised there's not more help for you for it. That's the shock.
That's the thing is, like, I don't have health insurance right now, and I don't know. They scheduled me an appointment for a dermatologist. I don't remember when. I think they said January 25th, and this was like November something when I talked to somebody.
I told you the medical field's crazy. And they'll make you wait 3 months for stuff, and you'll be in pain.
And, like, I finally broke down, like, because for, like I was saying earlier, I've been so combative about seeing a psychiatrist or, you know, talking to somebody. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, maybe I should just accept this help or, you know, try and see what's going on. Maybe it is anxiety that's getting my skin like this.
When you went to the hospital for it, did they explain what they thought it could be from?
No. They just said stop using what I was using and use Vaseline.
What's your prescription? Stop scratching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so fucking easy. So, you know, dude, I've gone to the point where maybe I need to be hypnotized, you know?
There's no way, because it's a feeling on your body, though.
It's a subconscious thing because I'm scratching in my sleep.
Right, but that sounds normal. Like if you have chicken pox, you're gonna scratch. Well, you're not supposed to scratch, but like in your sleep, you're gonna scratch because you're itching.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get how even if they did hypnosis or something like that.
I don't know. Like, I'll be at work and I'll just start scratching, and it's like I don't even itch and I'm scratching.
That's weird.
It's weird because when I'm not itching, it burns, but when I'm itching, it don't hurt. It's so fucking, it's like comforting. Weird. It's so weird. That's why I feel like maybe hypnosis. Maybe I should just become a method.
I've done hypnosis. I've gone through the ringer for everything. It's odd. It's really odd. I did it for my anxiety and depression, and you learn they're mostly hippy dippy people because most medical don't believe in it. It's more, I think it's more Eastern medicine.
It's people that can't be touched because of the force field.
Yeah. So, you know, they're going to have most you'll find chakra rocks, and it's very comforting because you sit there and a lot of times they walk you through it. They walk you through it and they have like chimes and shit like that. But to me, it almost feels like a prayer.
What are you burning?
Burning sage. But like I said, it's almost
smells like Northern Lights. I know what that is. That's Northern Lights Indica.
Nice office callback. No, that's weed. When he gets mad or after he says that. But yeah, I don't know. Hypnotherapy, I don't know how strong it is. People have used it to get off smoking and stuff, but it definitely didn't help me. I tried over and over because I wanted it to work. I want these ways to work because my brain doesn't feel like it's working correctly. So there's got to be something. There's things called, I don't know if it's EMDR or whatever, but it's rapid eye movement.
Oh, that's a sleep.
No.
REM sleep. It's a sleep cycle.
Yes. So I'm thinking of something else. But anyways, it's ways they make you follow like a pin or something with your eyes, and they could find the parts
That's
of
a sobriety test.
they could find trauma.
I think I've actually heard of that.
They could find trauma. Here's the bad thing is when I was out for 8 months trying to find anything, the best thing I found was this really good Buddha dude, and he would let me FaceTime with him, and he had a sliding scale, so he cost me like $65. We would do mindful meditation, and that helped me a lot during that time without what's it called. But I try to do this. Let's see. For trauma, I would do this with them. I would do this with them on the laptop, and you really need, it's called EMDR. I said that way different because you're like REM, rapid eye movement. I'm like, yeah, totally. It's funny now that I think about it, because I should have never done it, because doing it on a laptop on a webcam with them isn't the full effect of following things with the.
He's all going off the screen.
Yeah, like following with the pen and stuff. Like it's really, and she was saying like, I mean, we could do this again, but I don't think you're getting the benefits.
You're not doing it correctly.
Not quite there. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. So like you would move your eyes and look certain ways. They could find the trauma in your brain by the way your eye, how you felt different ways. I broke down crying, going through stuff. We're trying to cross her eyes. I tried that. It's supposed to be for trauma. I've not talked to anyone that has had like crazy success, so I don't know. Who knows? I mean, it might be something I'll try again, but I've tried everything basically. I don't know what else out there that I haven't tried. I've come to the point that I know it's myself and I need to push and go forward, and hopefully things will change. But there's days where I feel like it's never going to change, and that's sad. I don't want to die.
It sucks, yeah.
I don't want to die going like I don't take road trips. I don't really care about flying, but it does suck to say that I won't fly back to Hawaii or whatever.
You should become a pilot.
Yeah, that's what they want me to start panicking and just.
I didn't say for the 747?
Yeah, funny or not funny?
Just a little biplane.
Weird thing that
That way, if you do panic, it's just you.
Yeah, I'm going down. The crazy thing that just happened, my mom was coming back from Hawaii, and the flight before her, the storm was really bad. The flight before her, they grounded my mom. They wouldn't let her fly because the flight before her had such bad turbulence. Like people were getting tossed around.
Damn.
And I guess people didn't have seatbelts on, so that's probably part of it. It was a time where they didn't need it, and people that were walking to the bathroom. But my mom showed me a picture, dude. There's a hole busted in the ceiling, like a hole.
Dang, that would have been my like opportunity to dive on some hot girl. Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Were you Billy Madison? You know when I dare you to touch your boobs.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Jesus.
But yeah, I would have done that.
But yeah, dude, that's. I'm so afraid to fly before even anxiety was really. The panic disorder was in the picture. I was afraid to fly.
I would just say I'm afraid of heights.
Well, they say the height fear goes away when you're flying.
Yeah. Oh my god. Look,
From here. Have you flown?
Yeah, I used to fly to Uncle Mike's house in
Vegas
all the time.
So did you?
And then I also flew to Hawaii for your wedding.
So did you get that feeling of heights when you're in it? Because they say it goes away
a little bit.
Because they say supposedly you're so high that it separates it.
I used to be that way.
Even skydiving, they say that you're so high.
Let's do that.
No. People say I need to do something extreme to make myself better. And then like
you did paintballing.
Huh?
You got shot by a paintball. I think the next step is skydiving.
Once it goes to paintball, you move up one more to skydiving.
Mm-hmm. And then wrestling a crocodile.
I'd wrestle a crocodile before skydiving.
Really?
Easy answer.
Oh my god. All right, Steve.
Dude, rest in peace. That fool took a fucking stingray to the chest.
That sucks. That's fate right there.
That's live by the sword, die by the sword. That's living by the animals, die by the animals, dude. But I could. That's
Bear beats Battlestar Galactica.
That dying like that is fucking rare, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's fate.
Being around a stingray and then let alone it piercing you like that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know stingrays fucking had that sharp of fucking tails.
Oh, it's kind of why they're called that.
Well, I was gonna say, are electric eels electric? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got
But
that.
not like fucking.
They can't. Power.
Actually, yeah, they are. They're not. I don't think they can like turn you into Electro, but. There. I have watched a video on YouTube.
I've watched Naked and Afraid, and when they would grab like they had big ones. They would get electrocuted when they grabbed it. So usually they had to spike it in the head to get it to not. But I still think it might have.
Kobayashi.
Anything more else you want to add? Because I know already with us going off on your talking about your skin and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's, that to me is kind of bringing on depression again with my situation.
Too bad. That's all the time we have.
And we're done.
What you're saying though? Your baby mama.
I feel like I'm letting Axton and Kyson down because right now I'm not in school.
Yeah, but you're still working. You're providing though.
Yeah, that's time for another episode.
No, I'm saying, but you're working and providing. It's not like.
But I'm not where I want to be.
Oh no, trust me. I feel like that's why I try so hard to do things for my son within my
capability,
comfort zone. I try to always. He's a little fucking asshole now, but I'm like, you want to go with me to the comic book store? Nah, I'm good.
No, but you can give me a comic.
Yeah. So it's like I try to do anything possible, but it sucks to miss out on things. I'm glad I started getting better going to soccer games because I was missing out on a lot, and I got so heartbroken when my wife has to FaceTime me the games or I don't see anything. She brings me back a video and it kills me. And
by the way, I work Monday through Friday now, so I could, if he starts going to soccer again, I'd like to.
He will be doing indoor in January.
Nice.
It's a lot different.
I've played indoor.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
A lot smaller,
for him.
Fast-paced.
For him, I told him it'd probably be a better time to challenge your dribbling because you're on flat surface. So all the times you're practicing on the rug and stuff will pay off. But anyways, so I guess that's it. I mean, covered some interesting things. Leaves a little bit of story. So people, like I always say, or I told my wife why I wanted to do this is because when I bring up things and I'm like, oh, I have anxiety or depression or whatever, if they don't understand the extent, they could go back and go, oh, wow, there's like a 2-hour video or episode of them talking about why they have it, or
mainly Ernie talking about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, man, whatever you got to throw in. But I think you're doing way better than I do. Shit, motherfucker, you're driving. You have a job. I don't have a job. I'm on disability. I'm not driving.
See, but that's where I was trying to get to. Is I feel like it might be getting worse.
But that's why you got to keep fighting. That's why I tell everybody you got to keep fighting because all I did was run. And I let my circle get small.
And like, there's times where I just want to be like, hey man, can I have a Xanax or something, or can I have something?
And I think always it's okay to, under the doctor's supervision, doctors will hand it to you like candy. I say
they will.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easy.
And like when I was talking to the lady about getting a dermatologist, like I told her, I haven't been feeling a little depressed, and I have been having anxiety, and I almost wanted to be like, do you think you can prescribe me something?
Yeah.
But I was like, no, let me go through the fucking hoops and talk to somebody about it, and then they can be like,
that's why anyone that knows anything about these things, anxiety, depression and stuff, they rather you talk to a psychiatrist because people do hand out, even psychiatrists do, but you usually got to find the right one. And
if I were handed anything, it'd be Norcos.
You want some Norcos?
Yeah.
For the pain? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're addictive, though.
Dude,
They're addictive.
I mean, other than the pain, it feels good. I like the high from it.
Yeah, that's the bad thing too with the Xanax is like feeling the comfort of my mind being at ease is very relaxing. Because people don't get it. Like they're like, you only take it when you're supposed to, when your body's feeling not right and you're panicking. But there's times where I have brain chatter really bad and my brain won't slow down, and I've taken it and it's just, you're calm.
That's one reason why I like to smoke weed is because...
Well, that's probably why I should smoke weed, but I'm too afraid to because I tweak out and get panic attacks over everything. So, but that's the thing is probably what I do.
Maybe what you need is to be in a room of smoked weed, not directly hit it, but maybe get like...
Not hotboxing.
No, I mean, it doesn't need to be like in a small room because then you'll get claustrophobic. I don't know, like fucking. Well, can't do it here.
Being around Declan, always smoking his peace pipe. What does he use? A vape. That motherfucker is always blowing it like in my face or in my way, so it feels like I get it anyways. But I don't know. It's like I said. As far as the medication goes, it's okay to go down that route. I think if you really need it and you're at the point, but use it as an assistance to getting better. Don't plan on being on it forever. You know what I mean? Because instead, that's what happened to me is I've been on it forever to the point where they're like, well, you can't do things. You're panicking. We're going to increase it more. Oh, you can't do things. We're going to increase it more. Then all of a sudden you're taking shit that could harm me in the future. So my goal is to eventually get off everything. I don't know how I'm going to. How I live right now, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get off stuff. Antidepressants, though, I've been told that I may be on them for the rest of my life because your brain may never make those chemicals by themselves. So it's almost like synthetic in a way, robot type of deal where it's like it has to mimic things, and you mainly want your brain to mimic and take over what the drug is doing. But if it's not doing it, you're just fucked and you have to take it. That's what I'm saying. You may need something, but because like I had so many friends and they're afraid. They think you walk in and you go, hey, I'm having scary thoughts, or I'm thinking about killing myself, or I'm thinking of, you definitely be careful saying killing yourself because they will react and they will 5150 you or whatever. But word it differently. But if you're like, I'm having thoughts of like, down or whatever, they're worried
you
that
mean like killing yourself.
They worry that white coats are going to run in and put you in a straitjacket, and it's like, it doesn't work that way. There's no insane asylums that are like that look like Arkham that got Joker in it and stuff. It doesn't work like that. There's people that are medically ill to the point where they're not really there, but they were born that way, or they did so many drugs that it corrupted their mind or whatever, and they're so far gone. This isn't you having normal, I'm not feeling great because depression, anxiety, whatever it may be, even bipolar, even schizophrenia, that has even come in my family, and there's help for it. There's medicine for it. And the best thing to do is to tell them about it. Do not sit there and hide it, because all you could do is make it worse, and then you might go to other drugs for it, and then it gets bad. And untreated could go down the line of not going crazy, but could go down the line of you harming someone or harming yourself because you're whacked out and you don't know how to deal with things or whatever. But on that pleasant note,
relax. I just want to get some drugs.
We're going to let Adam pee, and then make sure you guys take care of yourselves. And yeah, if we ever get a bunch of listeners, this is where I would be like, yeah, reach out. Message us. Let us know, because I would definitely talk to anybody about it. People call me all the time. My therapist gets mad and says, you can't be everyone else's therapist, but I think being an ear for people is a very good thing.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
So be an ear for people. You don't have to sit there and help them with everything, but be an ear and listen to them. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share. We've been getting a few people listening to this new podcast, which is cool, because I think people just want to hear people talk sometimes, and if you have interest in it, it's kind of fun sometimes.
Can you see like different people listening, or is just
It just shows me people are listening, right? It tells me how many downloads I'm getting on through other audio websites, and then it shows my YouTube count. The YouTube count's low always. It's always the audio sites. And then check out Best There Is podcast. Will be, God, the Christmas one needs to be up right now. Right,
we'll probably be talking about The Way of the Water.
Ryan's got the thumbnail for the Christmas one. I just need to put it up. I might put it up without the thumbnail because we're going to do another one. We're only supposed to do one a month, but we're going to do another one for the end of the year. Best of movies, best of actors, actress, TV series, and all that. So
we like to call it the Dundies.
It's going to be the Dundies of Best There Is. So make sure you guys come back around and watch it. And thank you again. Thank you, Adam. And that is it. Bye.
Okay, bye.